What country are you guys from? Can we get some pen?
Morning all. We have third session of today, 20th May. The title is Social Entrepreneurship. How we can all build business that can make a difference. Lead speaker is Tyler Brownman, and the panelists Joe Scott and Neha Mudaliya. So shall we start now? The mic is yours.
Thank you. Well, I don't know if there's supposed to be two other panelists. I'm not sure if anybody else will come. Does anybody else here have a background in social enterprise, or you have a social enterprise? You do? So afterwards, if you want to talk for a little while, you're most welcome, because I'm not going to need the whole time, and more than happy to share your story or what you're doing as well. So my name's Charlotte Brown. I'm from Canada, and I've always had an interest for social enterprise. I just didn't know what it was called. Probably up until about 2 or 3 years ago was the first time I ever heard the term social enterprise. Because I always had a business, and I always loved doing good in the world. And I think lots of times we think that those two things need to be separate. That your business is to make money, and doing good in the world means what you do to give. But there's an amazing way to be able to cross those two things and create a social enterprise, which is different than charity. Lots of times charities are set up, and it's kind of a one way of just giving. But it's hard to sometimes get people involved because they're like, what's in it for me? Whereas a social enterprise lots of times can create a win-win situation, which does good in the world, but also creates a business for someone that they can also make some money. So if you can go to the About Us, there's a little definition in there about what a social enterprise is. You can scroll down. So what is a social enterprise? As with any business, a social enterprise provides goods and or services to customers. However, social enterprise differs from a traditional business in that the profits are reinvested to achieve, sustain, and further its social or environmental purpose while still ensuring financial viability. So I'll tell you the story of one woman, which is my newest social enterprise. But I'm going to give you a couple of examples of other social enterprises, just so you can kind of get an idea. So has anybody ever heard of Habitat for Humanity that builds houses? Yes, that's a very popular one. And in my community, they also have a restore where people can go and donate their kitchen cabinets, things that's at home, their doors, if they are reconstructing or if they're doing renovations, they can donate their stuff that they have, and the restore goes and resells it, and that helps provide an income for that charity. So lots of times there's a social enterprise that's now combined with a charity that will then create a sustainable income for that charity. So it's really hard lots of times for charities to create that income all the time and make sure that it's viable and sustainable. So that's where a lot of charities are kind of looking at that now, is how can I create a social enterprise that helps fund the mission work that we want to do, so, which is a cool opportunity for creating social enterprise. The other one doesn't necessarily mean that your profits have to go in for doing good, where mine does and something like the Restore does. I have a friend of mine that owns a company called the 7 Virtues. And a really cool story where her best friend was a Canadian soldier. He was at a peacekeeping gathering in Afghanistan doing peacekeeping work, and he was at a very sacred ceremony where nobody has weapons. You lay down your weapons, everybody removes you don't wear your hat, any of that kind of stuff. And he took off his hat, he took a Taliban axe in the head. And he returned back to Canada. He lived through it, but his best friend wanted to continue his peacekeeping message in the world. And she started a company, and she was on Dragon's Den, which if anybody's heard of Shark Tank or Dragon's Den in
Yes.
Canada or US, yes. So she was on Dragon's Den, which is the Canadian version, and she wound up getting investors from Dragon's Den, and they wound up investing in a perfume company. So what she does is she pays farmers fair market value to create essential oils or pure oils that then make perfume. And so instead of these farmers growing crops that would make opium to make drugs, to make more money and to be able to just live and survive, she now pays those farmers fair market value so that they can then sell their crops. And she creates a product that does good in the world and creates that message of peace. So there's another example. She's not giving away her profits. As much as she invests and she'll give to different charities that she believes in, she does something that's just right in the world and that helps serve that purpose. So I'm going to share a little story with you, one woman, which is the latest social enterprise that I started. And literally this website launched on Monday to the world, but the story started just a little over a year ago. So if you want to scroll down a little bit further, I'm a bit of a storyteller, so that's what I'm going to do, is tell you this story for one moment. A little bit further, just to the picture. So this is me in the Amazon rainforest in March of last year. I donated my time with my other company. I have an event management company. I plan all kinds of events in Canada, and I donated my time to help with an anti-bullying event. And I find that's very important to me, that as much as I do lots of different events in Canada, I need to always donate my time to help with a couple of good causes. And that led me to an organization called Free the Children and Meet a We. They have these massive We Days all over the world where they bring students together, and the energy is amazing. 15,000 students, all being inspired to go out and make change and do good in the world. And I got invited, because of the work that I did on this anti-bullying event, to go and experience one of these massive We Days. And one of the videos that they had was about how you could go and build a school or go help in a community in Ecuador, in Kenya, or in India. And I thought, well, maybe one day I'll do that. And my friend who was with me said, let's go do it, we should do that. And so the following March, that's where we went, is we went to the Amazon rainforest. And we didn't know what our project was. You never know until you get there, because it all depends on what that community needs. But I got there to find out we'd be building a women's empowerment center. And I'm like, wow, you are singing my song. Because I've helped women and women start businesses for almost 20 years now. And I couldn't have been more excited to get started on this project. And we literally broke ground. We dug holes, so the big footing goal holes that 6 feet into the ground. We sawed rebar by hand. We picked rocks to separate the gravel to then make the cement. It was hard work. I'm used to a desk job. I was sweating, I was tired, I was sore. And one day, there was the ladies building kind of a shelter, because it would rain off and on. We were in the rainforest after all. To keep a little shelter, to keep our stuff dry during the day. And I kept looking at these ladies. There was about 8 ladies working in the yard of one woman's house. And one of the organizers, she said, you know what, Charla, do you want to work with those ladies today? You keep looking over there, maybe you'd like to work with them. I said, I would love to do that. So I met Olga, and she was teaching me how to thatch palms. And I thought, oh, this will be easy, no problem at all. Well, a little more challenging than I thought, I just thought, oh, it's like braiding. But she kept correcting me, and her hands would move over my hands, and she would help. And I looked at my hands, which I always have very polished fingernails, and like I said, I have a desk job, and I looked at these women's hands who were calloused and very much showed the signs of so much hard work over her life. And I was so hot, the beads of sweat was dripping off my head as we were doing all this work, and I could feel every ache and pain in my body. And then I noticed that those drips of sweat were no longer sweat, those were tears. Because what I realized was that even though we didn't speak the same language, that two women can work together no matter where in the world. And they get it. She kept saying, está bien, it's good. And encouraging each other and helping each other. Even though she knew that I didn't know what I was doing, that I was hurting, and that I probably would have rather been at home, but I was having such a wonderful day with these ladies. And I speak a little bit of Spanish. So we got to know each other, and we were laughing and asking each other's names, and their children were running around, and we just had this beautiful, beautiful afternoon. And time flew. I had 7 palms done by myself in no time. And these were long, And finally, Belen, who was the organizer that I was talking about, she says to me, Charlotte, it's time to go. Everybody's on the boat. We're heading back up the river. You can't. And I said, oh, I'm having such a good time with these ladies. I would easily just stay here for the rest of the afternoon. So Belen translated in Quechua, which is their Aboriginal language, as to what I had just said. And the woman put her arm around me and she said, she can stay with me, she can stay at home. And I just realized that sometimes the people who have the least in this world are the ones who are most willing to give the most. So as excited and happy as I was that day doing the work that I did, I left there that day with a really heavy heart because I realized that as much as I was there that week making a difference, I was capable of doing so much more. So I went back to the lodge where we stayed at, and I went to bed that night, and I woke up to the sounds of the Amazon rainforest and the jungle sounds, which if you've ever woken up in the jungle, they're indescribable. You hear all kinds of, I'm not sure what those sounds are, but loud and beautiful, and I just came up with the idea of One Woman. So an organization that would help women start businesses around the world, and an organization that would help girls go to school. Because that's not always the case in much of our world. So this Women's Empowerment Center that we were building was being built to help women have an alternative income. What I loved about the work that Free the Children was doing is they work on a pillar system that sustains a village. So it's the whole idea behind, you can give somebody a fish and they can eat for a day. Or you can teach somebody how to fish and they can eat for their lifetime. And that's what they do in communities, is they work on pillars that help with things like agriculture, with social enterprise, with alternative income projects that help bring additional revenue into that village, clean water projects, education, and healthcare. So really the pillars that every community needs to have in order to not just survive, but to thrive. Because what I learned from working with women around the world is that we all have the same goals. We want a better life for ourselves, for our family, for our children, and for our community. And that's the same for every woman. Doesn't matter where I've went, I've never found anybody who said any different. So we worked on this Women's Empowerment Center over the week, and I got to know these ladies very, very well. And I was excited, so that I knew that the handcrafted items that they did, and I had the opportunity to learn how to make all these. We took palms that you strip down into fibers, that they then dried those fibers. They went and collected seeds in the jungle. They created the most beautiful jewelry out of what nature gave them. Because women are incredible like that. You can they can go and turn anything into something beautiful. And that's the whole project behind Free the Children, was to then be the middle person that would then sell those goods to the world. And that income would go back into helping and improving their community, but they did that work themselves. And they had that pride that they did that, and that they were able to better provide for their families, and to then have a well in their community that they could then have clean water, rather than the water from the Amazon that was so badly polluted. And they could then have schools for their children. They could then have a healthcare center where they could know that they were taken care of. So it's really quite a beautiful story, but it's where the whole idea of One Woman began. So, what's One Woman? So One Woman, like I said, is meant to help women start businesses around the world, and it's meant to send girls to school, which isn't always the case. And sometimes it's acceptable, sometimes it's not, but usually in any community, something will help to improve a woman's life. Just like last week, I was working in Rajasthan, rural Rajasthan, helping women start little goat businesses. So as much as it's not acceptable for a woman to work outside of the home, it's okay that she has a goat that she can take care of at home. It provides more milk for her family, and that goat also provides an offspring each year that she can sell for 6,000 rupees, and that income can then go back into her family. The condition is that her daughter goes to school. But this woman can now open her own bank account for the very first time. And she belongs to a collective self-help group of women that a portion of their money all gets collected together, goes into a bank account, and they decide as a group what they want to do with that money. So right now they have about 40,000 rupees. They're deciding, do we buy more goats? Do we buy a bigger animal like a buffalo? Right now it's the excitement of now having some choices and to be able to do things together and knowing that this is going to lead to an even better life for themselves and their families. So how does it work for the rest of the world? Because, like I said, with charity, sometimes people are like, okay, I could give, but what's in it for me? And for me, it's enough that if there's something you believe in, you will just give. But lots of times it's like, so I created a whole other side of it, because what I've learned for women in business is it doesn't matter where you are in your business, women sell themselves short. All the time. I work with women in business all the time. And they'll tell me about their business, and it's like, well, why don't you take it to this level? Oh, no, I'm comfortable here. This is what I'm capable of doing here. Well, yeah, but you can take that to other cities. Ugh. Yeah, but I just do it at my community center, I do it at my home. So lots of times we play ourselves small, but it's amazing when you bring women together, how much more confident we are. If we don't have that necessarily in ourselves, how much we can build that in each other. So I created a collective network that if people want to purchase a business membership because they have a business, this will now connect women in business from all over the world. That you can help, support, encourage, uplift each other, no matter where you are. Because like I said, we all have those same goals, to have a better life for ourselves, for our families, and for our communities. So the fact that you can connect with women no matter where you are, maybe it's somebody who's just down the street, maybe it's women in your own community that you create your own little group and you realize like, hey, there's some strength in numbers. And I can honestly say that's what's contributed to my success in the last 20 years is that I've had that community of women that have always uplifted me and encouraged me to live my dreams and to continue to do that. So that was March of 2015. I thought, you know what, these women are making these bracelets and all these wonderful things. How can I help support them? So I thought, I'm going to order 1,000 bracelets. That with every membership that a woman purchases, they're going to get a bracelet, a one-woman bracelet that's going to connect and unite us all around the world. So I put in my order for 1,000 bracelets. Now these ladies were just getting started. They were just building their center. 1,000 bracelets was like, yikes. So they said, you know what, Charlotte, we're not ready for that yet. The ladies are still working on perfecting their craft and then doing the packaging. But we've been doing work in Kenya for the last 7 years. These women make rafikis. In Swahili, rafiki means friend. So we could have 1,000 bracelets for you to start with, and then when you want to order more, hopefully the ladies in Ecuador would be ready. And I said, perfect, 1,000 bracelets, please. So I ordered the 1,000 bracelets. And I was at another WE Day, like I said, the large youth conferences that inspire kids to do wonderful work in the world. And I met the lady who handles all the travel arrangements. And she knew I was going to South Africa to visit a friend. And then she said, you know what, Charlotte, how would you like to just add on one more little jaunt to Kenya and meet the women who made your rafikis? I'd love that. I'd love to meet those women. So off I went to the Masai Mara. And I met the women, and I beaded with the mamas, and I fetched water with Mama Jane. And Mama Jane was just a woman. There's always a woman like Olga in Ecuador and Mama Jane in Africa and in the Masai Mara that just stick with me forever. So Mama Jane is a leader in her community of women. We went to her house. She built a cinder block house, which in Africa, most women in her village, everybody, all the women in her village would have a mud hut made out of mud and sticks. She had a cinder block house. She was proud of her home. She showed us. We went inside. We had a seat. We listened to her speak. And then we took a walk down, a water walk, which in many villages, that's a girl's job or a woman's job is to fetch water every day. And sometimes it's miles and miles, and you're fetching it on your water, on your head, or you're carrying it on your back. It's very hard work. And it's why most girls aren't able to go to school, is because their job is to fetch water or to do the housework or to help with the housework. So I walked with Mama Jane to fetch water that day, and she was telling me all kinds of stories about how she leads women in her community, and they also have one of these merry-go-rounds. Theirs works a little bit different, where every woman contributes a certain amount, the lowest denomination that somebody possibly has, and one woman has that and can do whatever she wants with it. So if she wants to buy seed to build a crop in her yard, if she wants to buy a goat with it, if she wants to put it into her home, it's hers to do with. And each couple weeks or months, a woman in that circle gets their turn to do that with the money. So they collectively come together, talk, have a cup of tea, talk about the things that's important to them as women, and then as women in business, they help and empower and inspire each other. So she's telling me all these beautiful stories and so many things that are reflective of my life in the Western world, that I belong to a circle just like that. It's a pure lending circle. That lots of times in the Western world, we can't go to a bank and say, hey, I want to start a business. Can you give me some money? And Mr. Banker goes, sorry, excuse me? And it's like, whereas maybe a man wouldn't necessarily have all those issues, and that still can be an issue in the Western world. So I belong to something very similar. So it's amazing to see, no matter where you are in the world, women are brilliant and resourceful in coming up with such amazing ideas to help and inspire and encourage each other. So we're standing down at the Masai Mara, at the river, the Mara River, and fetching our water, and I walked up to Mama Jane and I said, you know what, Mama Jane, you are a real leader in your community. You inspire me. You're such a beautiful person for what you do. And she looks towards the river and she says, yes, I am a leader. And I was just so excited. I gave her the biggest hug. I just thought, that's so awesome. Own it. She is a leader. She's helped so many women in her community. And I asked her, Mama Jean, why is it so important to you to have a cinder block brick house? Why did you build this? And she said, you know what? I wanted to show all the women in my community, that you can have anything a man has. I'm like, amen, like brilliant, way to go. So Mama Jane's somebody who will always stick with me, and I got to work with women in that community, and it was just such a powerful experience. And if the spark wasn't lit in me before, it was just definitely relit in me again and reaffirmed what I wanted to do. So I went back home and I continued with the website, which I said launched on Monday, and I'm excited to finally be able to share this with the world. And of course then I went home and I said, you know what, I traveled so much that past year, I'm not going anywhere this year. I'm going to sit, I'm going to enjoy, I'm going to work on things. And then I got the email from Harbin about this conference. And the only other location that Free the Children does work in the world that adults can go to is India. Coincidence? Probably not. Probably not. So that's how I wound up going to India. And last week I spent the week in rural Rajasthan. And like I said, I helped women start little goat businesses. So, and that's what I do, is through the memberships that women purchase, is that those funds go back to then helping women start businesses. And I partner with organizations that's already doing the good work. So it's not like I have to go and reinvent the wheel. There's lots of amazing women who are doing great work, and organizations, it doesn't have to be women or men, that are doing great work in the world already, and it's helping to support those programs to go back to help women. And then, like I said, for the rest of us, it connects women that want to expose their business, let people know what they're doing. They can write blogs, they can write articles, we have features. So let's go up. Oh, this is one of the ladies that I beaded with, and this was the Women's Empowerment Center in the Masai Mara that I beaded with. And those Rafikis, it's different. The one that's from one woman will go up to the membership page. So click up to the top and click up to membership. And the other cool thing is there's a whole member directory, so you can go on. It's not connected quite yet, but it'll have all the women in the world that you can go and see what their businesses are and what they do. And you connect with like-minded people, which you can do that here wonderfully for a week. But then what happens? Like how do you keep continuing to meet women from all over the world, which this is a wonderful way to do that. And if you keep clicking down, they'll show a picture of the bracelet. Down further, down further, down further. I think it's on this page. Oh, no, it's not on this page. Go back to the home page. I'm still getting familiar with it myself. That's it. So that's a one-woman bracelet. Now, there's projects that's going on. If you click up to the top and click on the project, what's neat is you can learn kind of when you purchase a membership what the current projects are, but I'm always looking for amazing new projects to kind of partner with. So I met a beautiful lady here who's from here in Delhi, and she's working on an incredible project right now. She started her own organization that helps her community in two ways. Number one is recycling. So she's working right now with a community of about 5,000 people that she's teaching how to recycle and to sort their dry goods and their wet goods. And then all the Tetra Paks go back to a place where they turn them into paper products. So they're all recycled and they turn into conference folders and paper, and they make baskets out of it and all these beautiful things. Just how resourceful we are to take garbage and turn it into something beautiful. So I want to partner with her and help with that project. So these are current, go up to the top and click on projects. And scroll down. So these are some. This is a little girl that I sponsored, and their organization came through Canada on a traveling program, and this is Barbara. Barbara wants to be a teacher when she grows up. She lives in Uganda, and a place where normally she wouldn't be able to go to school. She'd be fetching water and stuff every day. So the fact that we support her, she goes to school every day, it pays for her school uniform, it pays for her school supplies, things that her family wouldn't normally be able to afford. But because of one woman, she'll become a teacher. She'd like to become a teacher. And being able to follow her story. The thing is that the other important component of one woman is every year I'd love to take women on empowerment trips. So as time goes on, you can actually go and see these projects happen. And if you want to thatch a roof with Olga in Ecuador, or if you want to do a water walk with Mama Jane, you too can experience that. Because I will guarantee you, your life will never be the same when you've done these things. This one here is the GOAT project that I talked about in rural Rajasthan. They also do it in Africa as well. But this one here is supporting the women in Rajasthan. And then scroll down a little bit further. One Woman Kiva Fund. So Kiva is a great micro-lending organization that you can specifically go in and help women, and it'll show it. And if you have your own business that you want to start, you need help with microfinance, you can put that on there. And people will contribute towards it. You can contribute as little as $25, or if somebody says, hey, I need $500 to start my business, you can do that, but that money comes back to you all the time. So you're helping a woman, and it's a loan, and they're getting it at a slim to nil interest rate. There's an organization that's facilitating all that, but the return on investment, like the payment rate is like 98% that it's come back. So just the fact that, hey, I have confidence in this woman, that she's going to do it, and that I would be willing to invest, $25 or $100 to help towards her business can make a huge impact. And you can read somebody's story, which is kind of neat. And then this here is the One Woman Scholarship Fund. So this is happening at the Kisaruni Girls School in Maasai. And there, primary education up till grade 8 is covered, but not high school. And high school is very expensive there. So if a woman wants to further her education, and because families there are so large, in that community, basically your wealth is thought of by how many children you have. So there's some pretty large families there. And what happens is lots of times, maybe 1 or 2 children will get to go to school. Often boys are chosen over girls. So this here is like Kisaruni Girls, all girls secondary school, and it helps girls go up to grade 12. And after that, I'd love to be able to then create a scholarship fund that will help them go to college or university afterwards if they would like to, and hopefully develop some partnerships with college and universities that would help with that as well. But what's cool about this is that I'm working on right now to sponsor a girl for next year, for the next 4 years, but the women's empowerment trip would be to attend her graduation. And what an awesome day that will be. So that's for the projects right now. That's kind of got One Woman started, but I'm always looking for project ideas. So if you're involved with something, I'd love to learn about it and what you're doing, and hopefully we can work together. So on the other side, you can scroll back up to the top, and you can click on the Inspire button. One woman can be a leader. So we love to feature women who have kind of came on board to support this. And my first person that's always kind of stood behind everything I've done is my friend Erica. If you can scroll down a little bit further. And so Erica lives in Thunder Bay where I live. She's a spa owner. She owns a tea and coffee shop. And she's the founder of Business in a Bag, which is a really cool program that puts items together and is sent to developing countries to help a woman start a business. So what she does is, it might be a seamstress belt, so it might have all kinds of sewing supplies in there, and then it would be shipped down. We have a lot of direct flights to places like Cuba or the Dominican Republic, where women need help but don't always have that accessible. She'll send things like wedding dresses that'll go down, and a woman can open a little second-hand shop that she can rent those things, because most women in those communities can't purchase a wedding dress. So the fact that they can have these brand new, worn only once usually, wedding dresses to wear that are beautiful. And she can make an income on that, and she helps a woman feel beautiful on her wedding day as well. So that's really cool how she started that. So we featured Erica and told her story on there. And the whole idea is to feature all the women who come and be a part of One Woman, and just feature their story, because every woman has a story. Every woman here has a story. And it's important because through your story, you inspire others. As irrelevant as you think your story is, it is not. everyone has a story. Just like I told you stories of so many women today that I hope has inspired you. So, if we can go back up to the top and click on the empowerment. So this is the other thing that we're always looking for. So these are upcoming trips of women's empowerment trips that if women are interested in being a part of, they can do that, which it's always fun to travel and learn about different cultures and new places. But it's not, I've always been on my own. So it's nice to have when you have a group to go and experience with and share those memories and moments with. And then also, if somebody wants a speaker to come and speak and talk about one woman and share, and we're also looking to develop speakers. So if you're interested in being a part of that you could go out and speak in your own community and let people know what one woman's doing and sharing what you're doing in the world to help the world. That's what we're looking to accomplish. And then also to be able to write and share. So like I said, blog posts, articles, things like that we can send out on the newsletter and share through social media that are important to women and that help connect women, because then when you see something that you're like, there's somebody else that's interested in what I'm doing. I need to connect with that person. So that basically wraps up kind of what Woman's all about, but I'd love to leave things open for questions. But definitely in the words of Mama Jane, I just want to let everybody know, if you don't already, that you are a leader, that you have gifts to share with the world. And if you're not sharing those with the world, you're selling the world short. So lots of times we're doing it because we are scared that we don't think what we have is valuable, but it is valuable. So you need to get over that because you're selling the world short. You are a leader. So thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions at all?
Yeah, I'd like to ask. Can you please tell us? Yeah, I just want to know about the project that you did in Rajasthan, because I'm also working with the Ministry of Women and Child Development, where we have a lot of self-help groups need a lot of help. So I'd just like to share that with you and to understand what you're doing.
Yeah, so like I said, it's a partnership with Free the Children, which they have that pillar system I was talking about. So it's not the fact that they'll ever go into a community and say, this is how you need to do things. It's always a partnership with the community to help them, and that they're as much of a part of it as they are wanting that help. So they'll have ideas in terms of like crops there that will grow more quickly, that will have more nutrition, things like that that's in there. So it's always a partnership that's with it. So with the women's groups, it's always alternative income projects usually that will help that woman have more income that will come into their families, that'll also help their girls and their children go to school. So what they're doing with that is, you're always respectful of the culture, and the culture there is big that, a woman can't work outside of the home. So it's like, how can you create a business that then that woman can do from home? And they have lots of goats, and that's a woman's job there, is they do take care of the goats and the smaller animals. But they found these super goats, so that's what they've introduced into that community is super goats. So the woman then has this super goat that Free the Children has given to them. But like I said, the condition is that then their children goes to school.
This is in Rajasthan.
This is in Rajasthan. So this goat now produces more milk, probably twice the amount of milk that a other goat would produce. So they have more milk for that family, and then that goat also produces an offspring every year that they can then sell. And it fetches about 6,000 rupees into that family. So that's the other side of things. Then the cooperative of those women together, they get together, and now the men are changing in terms of like, okay, I know my wife is doing this goat business.
Can I ask you a question in between?
Sure.
If every woman is in the goat rearing business, then they all have the milk. They all probably may not need to buy another goat. So who do they sell it to? Who do they sell it
Oh,
to?
right now there's more than enough, because the thing is that how many communities are there? What's the population of rural Rajasthan? How many people are doing this work?
I can answer that question actually, because I've been working with
Okay,
the Rajasthan
yeah,
projects.
yeah.
Most of the people who grow goats in Rajasthan sell it to meat markets in Delhi and Mumbai. Those are the main markets. So there's traders who come to the communities of
Goat is
rear.
for meat.
Yeah, and so they sell it for me, which is why they keep the females and then they sell the
males.
bucks. Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And that's just one idea. Now they're looking at introducing other ideas. So for example, one of the cultural activities I did last week, because it's always a combination of doing work in a community and then learning about the culture, was the block printing and the tie-dyeing.
Yeah.
So they could then teach that skill to the women and set up operations that they could then make and create those things. Just like the Rafikis are made in Africa and they're sold to the rest of the world. Free the Children sells millions of dollars in Rafikis. That Rafiki probably costs 20 or 30 cents to make it. Look at the impact that it makes when you're creative with what you have and what you can make and telling a story behind it. So what happens with each bracelet that you receive when you have a one-woman membership, or even if you buy it through Free the Children, it always has a story of this bracelet has helped a woman in the world. It has a track your impact code. You go online, you type in that code, you see a woman that you've helped. How do you feel? You see her story. Yeah, so it's learning to be creative with the things we have, and women are brilliant at that. Like I said, the lady here in Delhi takes garbage and turns it into something beautiful, gives women jobs, helps with the environmental issues. But there's not so much garbage.
What's the name of this organization? The one that does the garbage recycling?
I'd have to pull her card out of my, yes, but she's somebody that I'm going to partner with to help with things. But there's so many ideas. Goats are one. What can you come up with? What are the gifts that you have to share? You know, when you have the fact that if somebody has a skill that you could help in a community to help women start a small business. Because there's so many, like I said, with Erica, she starts a business in a bag. She is an esthetician. She helps create little businesses in a bag that helps a woman do paint nails and pedicures and things like that on the beaches of Cuba and the Dominican Republic, high tourism areas. They want their toes done while they're in the beach, you know? They don't think twice about doing those things when they're on vacation. So it's brilliance, you know? And in every country and in every community, there's things that, you know, are free or are inexpensive that they can turn in, and sometimes people just need a little help. Like the next thing I want to add to the website is to have a shopping site that then we can create a little hub. I'd love to grow one woman that I can hire women in my own community to build a head office that it's women who are coming from broken homes, abuse from that they don't necessarily have the self-esteem to be able to go into the working world. Maybe they're coming from a background of prostitution and wanting to leave that life. You know, there's so many ways to help women, and women need help in any community. It doesn't matter how developed it is. So it's what can I do in my community to help the women around me? And I guarantee you too will be helped in ways you never imagined. When I left Ecuador, I thought, oh, how wonderful, I'm helping these people, and I'm helping. And I left there, and then she helped me way more than I ever helped her. You know? And it's just all in perspective, that when we shift that perspective, you know, just what we're capable of being able to do with the impact. The logo of One Woman, if you can pull up the website again. My girlfriend designed this, and she's a beautiful graphic design. And it's meant to be a heart. Because what I found with every heart, or with every woman that I spoke with, and what they made, it was so funny. There was when I was in the Amazon rainforest, the women were beading and they were making things, and they were telling us about what they'd make. And they'd do this presentation, but it was all in Quechua. So she would get up and she would talk, and there was a guy that was translating. And the one woman in the audience, she also could speak the language. And she said, Octavia, I need you to stop for one moment. Because every woman that's got up here has said, I've made this from my heart. And you leave that out every time. And that's very important, that I made this from my heart. So that resonates with me forever. So one woman, I made this from my heart. And it's meant to be a heart, but it's the ripple effect, that when you drop a pebble in the water, that you never know how far it'll reach. So that's where the logo came from. But, and everybody has that. Sorry, I get emotional because this is what I do. Does anybody else have any other questions? And I'd love to have this lady share.
I don't know how much we get into this definition of a social enterprise, but then I think I'm audible without this. I belong to a charitable organization by the name the Kalvidar Trust. We started with 5 students and a school, basically, a school with 5 students. And the vision was envisioned by a great visionary saint, Baba Sant Atar Singh Ji. And the vision was to establish world peace through value-based education. So we started with 5 students and a school, and presently we are a chain of 130 schools set up in northern India, and 3 universities, several drug de-addiction centers, a charitable hospital, and several women empowerment programs. So about the women empowerment programs, we actually have programs wherein we offer training, professional training to the needy women, the women with less opportunities from the rural parts of North India. And then we also offer them employment opportunities in our schools, other programs that we have. So it's basically a sustainable model, and we are reaching thousands of women through this initiative. So it's beautiful, and the president of our organization, Baba Iqbal Singh Ji, he's dedicated his life for the cause of women and the have-nots. So it's very beautiful.
Good job.
I'm the manager for the research and innovation cell of the organization, and I'm a research scholar at IIIT Delhi.
What? You're so young.
I'm pursuing PhD from IIIT Delhi.
Wow.
Technology are making this.
Basically, I look into how technology in education can help classroom education and make the education more interesting for students, as well as the teachers, because the workforce of teachers that we have a workforce of 3,000 teachers, and they come from rural parts of India. They are not well trained, so we're trying to train them in ways that can inspire them and help them bring that inspiration into the classroom and inspire all those people, all those students from the rural parts of India. Nobody basically set up all these schools in rural parts of India because the basic facilities like water and electricity are challenging to find in these areas. So it's a not-for-profit organization, and we are doing it all on our own, and it's
Interesting subject.
You are a leader for sure. I'd love to connect with you afterwards, and that was a very important point. So when I was at the school, I did a tour of one of the schools, and they're rebuilding, because a lot of the classrooms leak rain, mud floors, you have monsoon season, and the classroom's not usable anymore. But they have this one that's locked up because it doesn't leak. But they have all these computers in there that the government gave them 5 years ago, but they have no electricity. There's no hydro there. So they just have these computers that's sitting there and that they're not able to use, and they have no teachers that can teach it. So organizations like that are so important, and people who can advocate to make sure that what's being given is something that actually can be used and to help that community, or to advocate for those resources like electricity to be in a school so that you can use. So everything's so important. It's just finding out what you're passionate about, what calls on your heart, and how can you use those gifts and skills to help others. Because I think that's what we're all on this earth to do. We're not alone on this earth for a reason. We're here to help and help each other. So again, thank you again. And if anybody has any other questions, I'm happy to stick around and chat with you more. I'd love to learn if you have an organization that you're working with. I'd love to connect with you. So thank you. Oh, yes, we have questions.
Sorry, actually we joined the session a little late because we were attending the back-to-back talks as well. I'm Aparajita, my friend Nilima. We are from an organization which is Delhi-based. We work in the city only. And we are basically skilling up the ladies who are living in the slum around the landfill areas where all the garbage of Delhi are dumped. Now, in Delhi and most of the Indian city, the garbage which is collected from the domestic level are not segregated. Because we are very happily give all our garbage piled up, mixed with degradable and non-degradable together. So it's a huge job for a lot of people to segregate it and do it and convert it into something useful. Now these landfill areas are full of plastics and other non-degradable goods which are piled up there, and they lie down there for complete 1.5 year before they go to some recycling plant. And during the monsoon session, these garbages, most of them, get mixed with the water, soil, and they cause pollution as well. Now we will find, if you go to any landfill area, we call that landfill area as Disneyland. Because if you go there, you would love to pick up anything, and we feel that's so valuable, you can make something out of it. So we started going and meeting these ladies who were living in around landfill area. These ladies mostly are engaged as housemaids in local communities. They are earning good amount of money, but at the same time they feel that this is not a dignified profile of job they have taken up. So when we have given this suggestion to them and we were ready to skill them up, they said that if we get something to do more dignified, we would love to do. Rather, they are ready to provide their whole time for this kind of work. And now we have 3 communities across India, across Delhi, where we teach these ladies, even the school children, girls who are in the colleges or school dropouts, they are happily joining with us.
What are you teaching them?
We are teaching different handicrafts, artifacts, and functional items which are made out of plastics. Basically, PET bottles, oil cans, rubber tubes, which are waste material, which only can be processed through recycling plant. And in India, the recycling plants are really, really less what is actually required. So we can actually add a lot of value to these products, and we can generate dignified livelihood for these ladies. And we are selling these products to different channels. We are trying to do some collaboration so that we can sell these products, we can generate some fund for the skill development part, because the skill development takes little time, and at this moment we are only putting our effort and our resources to do it. So if we can get to collaborate with some organization, it will be definitely beneficial for all of us. Thanks.
Yeah, do you know of, so I pulled out the card from the lady I had met a couple days ago, so it's Action in Community and Training. Do you know about them? Okay, because they're doing the same thing, except they were doing it with Tetra Paks and they're training into, like this was made out of recycled paper. So that might be somebody also to connect with. I can give you her card because there's strength in numbers, right? And I'm already going to be working with her, so maybe we can all work together because they're very similar projects, right? Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's where we conclude the session. Thank you, speaker. Thank you, audience. Also, be kind and thank you all.
Yeah, I would love to. Well, I've heard of organizations doing the work, so they'll
कितनी देर है कार्ड निकाले हम
कार्ड निकालने में ना वो रिकॉर्डिंग होती है, अगर मैं यहाँ से ऑन भी नहीं करूँ ना वहाँ लाइव पे चली जाती है।
But I won't have to pick up the tab.
Yeah, so when we come, like I'll bring it to a place where everybody pays for their which is like, you know, most of the people have done is already, how the ability to be able to travel and do things. It's not the fact that they're donating their time.
Yeah, they're donating, yeah, I understand, more than they just,
Away from that organization.
Okay, oh, lovely, lovely, it was such a pleasure. I'm going to take this chance.
Please have lighting.
Thank you.
Like you can't.
दीदी
क्या हुआ? वो क्यों? मैं बोल रहा हूँ ये बीचों में लाइट्स बंद करो।
अरे भैया
देखिए
रहने दो, रहने दो
ये अच्छा है और इसको बंद कर दो।
ये बहुत ज़्यादा बस नहीं है। पता क्या लिखा है? एक्चुअली में ये तो प्रॉपर आती है, ये फिर पता क्या होता है, आजा बेस बेस और यहाँ से आता है।
It's like you're going to turn into this. You turn it into something bigger and better. So, that's what I'd like to do. So that's really important at the time. Do a project, but then we'll bring it out of waves to see what it's all about. So, it's all you want here in Delhi? Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Yes. Yeah, I like it. I need to get a picture with you ladies too. Oh, okay, you need your own person. Okay. Like you went in, you want to give one to your friend too. But I want to get a picture with you. Is your friend still here? Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I look forward to working with you ladies. Yeah, she got it. Can we get one with my camera? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Practice session is Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you for coming.
And I can email you my information.
Yeah, I love that. I went to a ceremony when I went to the school, and I got a necklace, and I got a slingshot, and we did it rice, and yeah, it was awesome. I would love to. Yes. Thank you. It's a pleasure meeting you. Now drop me an email so I have your contact information. Okay? Yeah.